One class of film that has largely disappeared is the direct-to-video sequel. Back when video stores were a thing, movie companies would sometimes make cheap sequels to popular films so they could sit on the shelf next to their theatrically released inspirations and fleece the fans. I mean, give the fans more of what they liked in the theater. You know, exploit their interest. That sounds like our kind of thing. Welcome to Exploitation Reviews, and me, Rob, and today I'm taking a look at From Dusk Till Dawn 3, The Hangman's Daughter. If you had wandered into a video store back in 1999 wanting to revisit From Dusk Till Dawn so you could watch that Selma Hayek scene again, this time in the comfort of your own home so you don't get kicked out of the theater again, you might have been surprised to see these two movies sitting next to it. From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money, and Part 3, The Hangman's Daughter. So what's going on here? Well, after the success of the original, Quentin Tarantino and friends developed a concept for a sequel, which became Part 2, and Robert Rodriguez and friends developed a concept for a prequel, which became Part 3. Not only is it a prequel, but it's also the origin story of one of the characters we know from the original. Fun! Like the original, both of these also do a little genre blending. The original was a crime road film that turned into a vampire film. The sequel is a heist film that turns into a vampire film. And I don't really like heist films in general, and I didn't like this one in particular, despite the good cast. But Part 3 here, this one mixes a cheap, violent, spaghetti western style western with a vampire film, and that is an awesome mix. Let's check it out. We open on a card telling us that American writer Ambrose Bierce disappeared into Mexico after the Civil War. And that's true, by the way. His disappearance is one of the great mysteries in American literary history. If the name Ambrose Bierce doesn't ring a bell, you might remember his story, An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, from your high school English class. It was the one about the Civil War soldier who's being hanged and the rope breaks and he runs off and there's that great twist ending. You know, that one. Anyway, Ambrose is a character in this movie, and there he is, the wonderful Michael Parks as Ambrose Bierce, staring down a firing squad. This is very well photographed, looks fantastic, and it was a dream. In the waking world, Ambrose is in Mexico, making his way to revolutionary Pancho Villa. It's rough country, so he buys a ride on a stagecoach. The town he's in is about to have a hanging, but first they have a whipping. The hangman tells his daughter to go home, she disobeys, so she gets a whipping too. Parenting is hard, but rewarding. That done, time for the hanging. But the condemned man has a guardian angel, it seems. Broken hangman's news? Just like that story. The chase is on. The following action sequence is very stylishly done, and before it's done, the condemned man, his name is Johnny Madrid, by the way, grabs the hangman's daughter, Esmeralda, and they're off. Meanwhile, Ambrose gets to know his coachmates. They're Christian missionaries, and if you know anything about Ambrose, you know he doesn't have much respect for that line of work.
My singular critique of the good book is that its covers are too far apart.
That is pretty clever. A bit too clever for the lady. She is, after all, a missionary. Don't need brains for that line of work. Just a flat service. So, Johnny regroups with his band of outlaws and learns that Ambrose is bringing something valuable to Pancho Villa. It's time to rob a stagecoach. Things get a little violent.
I love violence. I positively adore it.
Me too, but there's a time and a place for everything, and this place is wrong. So maybe it's time to head over to Patreon, where you can watch fun versions of my reviews for $3 a month. There's some stuff in this movie later you'll definitely want to see over there. Link is in the description. So what is Ambrose bringing Pancho? Himself, which Johnny respects, so he cuts them loose. Of course, being cut loose in the Mexican desert is no great gift, but luckily for them, they eventually run across a bar. Of sorts.
La Tatela del Diablo. Now what does that mean?
I believe I can translate that for you. Welcome home, wayward pilgrims.
Actually, that means the devil's nipple. Thank you, high school Spanish class. Useful for movies and that one weekend in Tijuana. As you might expect, the Devil's Nipple is also a house of ill repute. So our crew gets settled, Ambrose tucks himself into a bottle, and the Christian couple retire to their room. The woman denies her man some fun. Not very Christian of her. Aren't they supposed to turn the other cheek? So her man steps out. On his way back to the bar, we see that some of Johnny's men have already made it to the establishment and are enjoying the wares. And those wares are nicely on display, so let's skip ahead. Well, it turns out our guy ain't as Christian as he has let on. In fact, it turns out he's what the locals call a badass.
What's your policy on fighting in this establishment?
I don't care, senor. What do you have in mind?
I'm talking about a real ass whooping. Broken arm, smashed nose, shattered jaw, that sort of thing.
I've seen worse, senor.
Johnny and Esmeralda also make it to the bar. Now everyone is together. Time for the second half of the story, the vampire half. You might notice that the vampires here, kind of like the ones in the original, have a reptilian flavor. Apparently that's because they're a subspecies of vampire called culebras that have some sort of reptilian lineage, something like that. Who cares? I'm not much for lore, I'm more for the gore. And brother, we got lots of that here. Well, more like there, but you get the idea. So who will survive all of this carnage? Well, that's enough out of me as far as plot goes. Let's talk some highlights. I like this movie quite a lot. It's campy and violent and sexy, and it ties in really well with the original, which I also like quite a lot. Plus, it's a horror western, and there are not nearly enough of those. Bone Tomahawk, Ravenous, and a few other notables, but overall, it's an underexplored genre pairing. But relative rarity aside, what really elevates this above its cheap and trashy origins is a really solid script. There are quite a few good lines in this, most of them from Michael Parks' Ambrose Bierce.
I wasn't gonna steal it or nothing. I just wanted to see it up close.
Is this close enough?
Johnny Madrid has some good lines as well, and the character development of the Christian missionary was a fun surprise. Oh, and for you Western fans, there are numerous little homages to other Westerns, like Treasure of the Sierra Madre,
We don't need no stinking brushes.
and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Finally, another thing that is sadly missing from nearly every Western, but not this one, is nudity. Admittedly, this thing isn't wall-to-wall sleaze, but there's a fair bit, and it's appreciated. All that being said, though, the movie's not perfect. Like a missionary spreading the word, this film has some shortcomings. Well, as you can probably tell, I like this movie a lot. I'm a big Western fan, I'm a big horror fan, I'm a big naked people fan, and the combination of these three things is very rare in film, so I'm happy this exists at all. And the fact that it's well done is a treat. I honestly have no idea why this thing is rated so poorly. I guess some of the CGI looks cheap, but whatever. I will say that one thing missing here is some good music. I really like the music in the original, particularly the tracks by Tito and Tarantula, and I wish this movie had a good needle drop or two. But it doesn't. At least it has some good dress drops.